Dave, you were just telling me that the Rudy Gay era is officially over for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
It was very fast, very quick, but now it is definitely over. So that is that, man. Um, I wasn't. This wasn't a surprise. This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. In fact, I think it was official, like I don't know, a couple hours after we got off our podcast last night. So, you
Oh,
know,
okay.
that's not too abnormal, I guess you could say. So,
Is it a coincidence that happened the same time that Coach Dagnall got an extension? I think not. I'm just kidding.
no, no, no.
Um,
I just think that this is what's going to
Housekeeping.
happen. I think when we have 21 guys on potentially 21 guys on our roster, you got to cut some of the people out,
Yeah, for sure.
and that's it, man.
What's up,
So,
Easton? Um, so yeah, dude, I feel like this roster situation
yeah,
is
man,
worth talking about.
for sure.
Also, the upcoming plans for FIBA basketball. Um, you and I are planning on trying to do some live streams watching these games. Um,
Yeah, and
Team
then
Canada and
I
Team
want to throw.
Australia.
I want to spend some time as well as talk about the 21 players or 20 guys now that we have on the roster, and as well as really what Sam Presti has done in 2 years to redefine a rebuild and what that means for the rest of the NBA, and not just the NBA, but all professional sports.
All right, let's do it.
So, anyways, before we get any further, Mark, I want to talk about one of the reviews we got yesterday because I think it's hilarious, and I want to bring it up to
Oh,
bring it up here. So this one's from Bob. He says, "How about wearing something more than wife beater t-shirts? And while you're at it, how about cleaning up your language? You have some interesting takes, but manners and appearance should help your ratings."
thanks, Dave.
I,
I could have done without Bob.
I no, I just think it's funny, man, because my response to him was, "Manners and appearance, bro, get out of that, get out of here with that shit." Um,
That's
because
right,
like, I
Dave.
mean, like, what is
Get
this,
him,
guys? Come on,
Dave.
manners.
Get
Jesus
him.
Christ.
All right. I used to wear jackets,
Yeah,
but that was back when I was in the hot. I
I
mean, in
I
the
wore a
cold air of
whitest shirt I
Pennsylvania.
could find.
Um,
It
Now I'm
has
in
the DMT
Texas.
molecule on it, but that's neither here nor
Different.
there.
But yeah. Anyway, dude. It's too hot, Bob. It's way too hot. Um, all right, Carson. You want to talk about cutting or trading players? I'm
All
in.
right,
I'm in. Let's do this.
all right. Let's go ahead and let's pull up the roster here while we're doing that because I think that's the only way through.
Bob can suck on one of these. There you go, Bob.
All right. So I do think that we're looking in a situation where, oh man, we just have so many players on this roster right now. Let's just talk about the guys that we're going to keep. All right. Kendrick Williams, Jalen Williams, and Jalen Williams. There's three guys. All right, guys.
This is gonna be a minute, but we'll get there. I know it.
All right.
I'm gonna have to use
Poku,
my toes.
definitely keeping Poku. I think
Mitchich.
Mischich,
Yeah,
Mischich,
whatever.
Mischich. I think we're keeping. I
All
think
right.
we're keeping Keontae Johnson. We might keep him on a two way, so let's just keep him out of there for now. Isaiah Joe, Chet, Shea, Josh Giddey,
That's
Dort.
10, 11,
That's 11. Usman Jang,
12.
12. All right. We got JRE.
Wait, you
We've
think
got,
JRE is on the keep?
I think he is on the keep, man. You
All
can't
right.
you can't you can't deny a player
It's
like that.
a lot of people would put him to a lot further down the list than you, but let's keep going.
All right.
So that's 13, right?
Yep. And then I think we got Ty Ty.
I'll keep Ty Ty. Okay.
I think we
14,
keep Ty Ty. Trey Mann,
15.
14. Case and
All right,
Wallace, bro.
14. Kaysen, 15. So
I
who
think that
doesn't?
wraps it up. I think Burton's. I think if we have to keep him, we have to keep him. But I mean, who are we going to give up? JRE then? And that's the problem. Is that like that's Ty Ty maybe, but
And
I think
Keontae
there's.
Johnson, you're thinking to be two-way.
I think he has to start as a two way at this point. I mean, he might get a contract like a $2 million contract. But if that's the case, and we're in a situation where we got to get cut Trey Mann or somebody like that. I didn't even add Aaron Wiggins to this, man, because to me, Aaron Wiggins has huge hill to climb right now, man. A huge hill. There's so many guards and
You gotta
slash
give him a
hybrid
chance.
guards.
You gotta give him
What?
you gotta give him a chance though.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is that like there's just too many things right here that it makes me stop and say, okay, what's going to happen? Is
I'm keeping
JRE
Aaron
more
Wiggins
up on that list that we want to keep? Is
over Trey
Wiggins?
for sure. Dude, I'm keeping Wiggins over Trey for sure. Second round pick, that's the type of people you want to build around.
But I know that, and you know that. But
He
the
didn't even
problem
play
is
summer
that
league
when you
'cause he
have
earned it.
15 guys that are all ready to earn and ready to play, you got to start looking at it and saying which guys make your team better right now, which guys have a better chance, And I look at some of these guys that we just picked up. I'd even add Jack White into that.
What's up, Steve? What's up, Robert?
Because I do think that
Tanner, what's going on,
these
man?
guys make our team better right away with Jack White and Mischich. I think these guys make our team better, but the problem is they take a team or a spot from the younger guys. And that's what it comes down to. I mean,
But
I don't want to keep the Garuba because I want to keep the guys that we have currently. But if
let me
does
ask
Garuba have a
everybody
better
in the
ceiling?
chat. Dave, I'll ask you too. What do you think it takes to keep Aaron Wiggins on a second contract? Because, like, if he's affordable, right? He's the type of second rounder you want to keep around. I'd say like 4 years.
Here's the problem. I'm sorry, man. And I do this all due respect to Aaron
20.
Wiggins. All due respect
Yeah,
to
me too,
Aaron
Jaden.
Wiggins,
Me too,
but
Jaden.
there's no way we keep Aaron Wiggins unless we not keeping Mischich and not keeping Jack White. I mean, that's my whole point about what's going on here is that the change of the guard happened, and it happened when we got rid of Maladon. It happened when we got rid of Isaiah Roby. The same thing is happening here. We're going to have to get rid of some of the guys that we've, watched them grow up in front of us for a couple of years. And I don't know what combination of those guys it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be one guy, two guys, or three guys, but it's going to be one of those things. It's going to be 1 to 3 guys that we're going to lose that we've watched grow up.
I agree, but my theory on Wiggins is he can defend 3 or 4 positions depending on the situation. I think 4 positions might be right, and he's a really solid offensive player from behind the arc, and he understands how to move without the ball.
Okay, so who you keeping instead? Who you
For
kicking out
sure,
instead?
Trey Mann, and probably JRE. I really do think like having long athletic wings who like understand their role and play at that level are more important than some of these other guys. But how much do you think it costs to keep him? Do you think you can pay him like 4 years, 25 million?
Again, to me, like, there's some contracts, man, right? That there's no like seeing what Kenny Hustle made, right?
Right.
So Kenny Hustle made what 3 years, 27 million or something like that. 4 years, 27 million. Anyways, if you can't give a player that type of contract, or that player cannot live up to at least a contract that size, so you're going to get a good deal on him, then you got to move on. And to my point about everything is that, again, I would rather have Jack White on my team than Wiggins. I would rather have Mischich on my team than Wiggins. I would rather have Trey Mann on my team because Trey Mann, yes, isn't somebody that's going to go out and dominate every single game, but he's going to go out and win you 2 or 3 games for the season because he gets super fucking hot. Yes, Wiggins is going to go out there and do some great things, but Wiggins doesn't have the ability to completely take over a game. Like we've seen what happens with Trey Mann scoring 30 and what was it, half or something like that. Like things like that truly make it so you want to keep a player like Trey Mann because he figures it out, then he's worth way more than Wiggins. So for me, it's like we have so many leaders on the team, but if you look at Keontae Johnson, I think Keontae Johnson could be a great fill-in for Wiggins, a great fill-in, and take his spot with almost seamlessly because of the way he plays. High shooter, great defender, around the same age, and just to go out and go baller. So for me, it's about that, hey, we got a chance to get a guy that's much cheaper right now in that role than paying him $5 million, $6 million a year. Save your money when you can at this point.
I don't know, man. I think Wiggins is that. I think he's that dude. I'm gonna like be really,
Sup,
really, really
Shane? Sup,
bummed out.
Wayne?
What's up, guys? I definitely don't want to see these guys. Like I don't want to see Wiggins specifically. I get, like I've had some good times with JRE,
Yeah.
but I'd let him go, and I've had some good times with Trey Man, but I'd let him go because, like, I question sometimes Trey Man's ability to impact the game if he's not hot, whereas
Interesting.
like
Okay.
Wiggins
But
just
that's
does
my point. You're not going to
all the
put him out in
little
the game every
things.
game.
Yeah, but you don't.
Whereas
I want
Wiggins,
that guy. I want the guy that does all the little things more than the guy that needs to be like just like a flamethrower.
I'm glad we're having this discussion because a lot of people are having the same discussion on and this is the discussion that's going to come down to every single one of the players that we draft. And why is this that we're having a discussion like this? And I would go back to what the headline of this is. It's how the Oklahoma City Thunder have redefined the meaning of a rebuild in 2 seasons. Okay, guys? And you got to understand is that we went from making the playoffs with Chris Paul. What did we win? Like 40 something games, 45 games, something like that, 46 games. We went from there, and then we lost 2 seasons in a row that we won 20 something games and 20 something games, like 22 and 20 something games. It doesn't matter. Then last year, we won 40 games and we made the playoffs. All right, guys. The point about this is that a lot of people will look at what the Oklahoma City Thunder has done, right, and say, "Oh, no, 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 that's not a rebuild. That's not a tank. That's not this or that," right? We're just redefining when you tear down a team what it should look like. You shouldn't go into this pulse. Oh, we don't want to tear down the team completely. We want to try to keep winning without the players that we've used to have. You see teams that trade out their draft picks, their assets, and all this stuff for the future, and then they get done with this team and they have nothing left. So the Oklahoma City Thunder have redefined how you're supposed to have a championship run. Because if you don't do it right, it's a short championship run. The Oklahoma City Thunder have widened their approach to this. And now we're sitting here having agree or disagreement or agreement, depending on how you want to look at it, about who we should keep on this squad. Why? Because when you draft players right, everybody's going to sit there and say, I don't want that guy to get rid of. I don't want that guy to get rid of. We can't get rid of that guy. We can't get rid of this guy. Because drafting right puts you in a place that you can be as greedy as a motherfucking dragon with gold if you want to.
So let me ask you the real question, dude. Isaiah Joe or Trey Man, if it came down to one of the two.
Oh, Isaiah Joe without a heartbeat, and this is why Isaiah Joe has proven that he's one of the better shooters in the league at 3-point when he's let go. Second of all, he plays at a
Joe's not
high
on
level of defense.
You don't think we're about to let Joe go?
No, I think Sam Presti will give Isaiah Joe a contract that he deserves rather than let him go. Like Isaiah Joe will go in and impact every single game. It might not be his 3-point shooting, but it will be by his passing. It will be by his. He is a playmaker. He is somebody that should be put in a position to get more PT. And when people are going to tell me that he's not in the top 8, I'm going to laugh at you because his minutes are going to prove that he is going to be in the top 8. Might not play every single game, but are you telling me that you can't have a 42% 3-point shooter on the court with Josh Giddey at any time you want? Like, you can't lose sight of him, man. Josh Giddey's going to find him so quickly. And I think that's the thing. Shea will do the same. J-Dub obviously knows how to do that. And if you think about what Chet can do across court passes, like it's nothing, like Josh can do. I mean, we're talking about one of the most impactful players that could be coming off the bench this next year. And I would be surprised if we're not, sneaking close to that 50 win mark if he's not at least in the top 3 mentions for 6th man of the year.
So like Joe, right? You got to have him. Why? He spaces the court, right? If you got a sniper like that and they can't help off of him, then you're in a real jam as far as defensively, and that gives Chet room to work. It gives Shea room to work. Now I got to look it up, dude, but What was Wiggins 3-point shooting last year? I
I
think it
think it
was
was
pretty
like
similar.
35 or something like that. There was a point that it was in the 40s, I believe, for a little while. But it wasn't much. Look it up while I'm talking. But it could have been like 33, 35, but it was around that. But there was a time that it was pretty high.
All right, yeah. I'm looking it up.
Um, I like Butler, man. I like Butler a lot, Wayne. He's somebody that doesn't get a
All
lot of
right.
credit because of his
He
heart
shot
condition.
39.3%.
Oh wow, he shot way above what I thought.
Right, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, if he has a legit chance at being a 40% 3-point shooter, it's really hard to help off of him, and he cuts. So if you do help off of him, he doesn't have to just spot up to hurt. He can move into the open gaps. Um, yeah, I mean, he shot 1.7 3-pointers a game. He played 70 games for us. So, um, I we're definitely not going to give him away. I don't think. I think some
No,
teams might value him.
I like again. If you're asking me who I would rather keep, it's just the situation that we're in. Like if we're gonna get rid of all the players that we've picked up this year, if we're trading Mistich, if we're trading Jack White, if we're trading some of these guys, right? Then it makes sense that we're keeping these guys. But I believe that there's some guys at this end of the bench that it's just inevitable that they're sitting there at the end of the bench. Like I I feel like this is almost like a college team of sorts. You see your juniors and your seniors getting all this PT, and all of a sudden the freshmen are coming in. They're starting to take more playing time out for your juniors and seniors, and your juniors and seniors are getting frustrated because they want more PT because the freshmen are coming in. But what's happened is that some of these guys we drafted in the second round, they got major PT because we were having trouble finding NBA talent for a very long time on this team.
Right, right.
And because of that, it was inevitable some of these guys really stood out. Now, as time is going on, which of these guys are going to stand out and which of them are going to actually take a step backwards? And that's why I don't think we hand out contracts until we know. Because is Kaysen going to be so much better than these guys that he's going to take their PT? Is he going to blow Isaiah Joe out of the water? And if that's the case, then we're sitting in a position that, okay, well, some of these guys we don't need to necessarily give them contracts to.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Or
going to
maybe
be.
some of them we have to trade out to lead the way for Kaysen or Poku or KJ Williams that all of a sudden comes out and just starts dominating. We don't know what's going to happen this year. Every year is different.
It's going to put a lot of pressure on G League minutes too, right? Like that's going to be, we're going to be having players that could be playing or should be playing for an NBA team, and so we need to get them minutes so they're out there playing in the G League. Um, how many minutes do you think Usman Jang will get? Well, if he stays healthy going into the beginning of the season.
Man, I hope he gets as much PT as he possibly can. He needs it. I mean, he really, really needs it. He's got one more year before I would say that it's dire need because I think he's still 19. So he's got one more year before I think it's dire need that he needs to see a massive improvement. I think about Poku as another person. This is his year to really stand out and get PT. If he can do it, he's going to earn himself a contract. That's what, to me, this is an exciting year, and I'm glad I'm hyping you up, Steve, because this is an exciting year for me because every single player that we've seen grow up, it's man up or step out of the way. And how long have we all been waiting for this moment? We've been waiting for this moment for a long fucking time where it's like you got to man up or you got to step out of the way, let the youngsters go. And more like than ever before, because of how deep we are, it's scary, man. Like these guys, I know for a fact, they're like, we got to work harder. It's not a surprise that J Dub put, what, 10, 15 pounds on of muscle. It's not a surprise that Dort looks like a chiseled god out there. Like these guys, they all recognize the young storm is coming, man, and people are starting to pick it up. Like it's unlike anything that they've ever seen before. Like we talked about the shift in the NBA, you know? It happens and you're like, oh, did not see that coming, you know? But here's the thing about this. We all have been seeing this shift coming for a long time. But when you have a group of rookies that stand out so drastically against everybody else, is dominating everything else, you start to recognize that there's not as many veterans as there used to be in the league. And it's leading the way for a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder to come out and do something nasty against everybody else.
That's it.
That's it, man. I mean, like, what else do we want? Like, that's why Sam Presti is next level. When we talked about it, and I threw it up on here, and I said that I believe that Sam Presti is redefining how all sports organization should rehabilitate their team, restructure their team, everything, guys. He's teaching a masterclass on a rebuild. That's all that needs to be said. As we are all watching it, we need to be able to observe it. We all need to see it because for the future of sports, it's all going to change. It has to, because he's teaching people, if you do this and you give yourself a long runway, are you telling me with a long runway, you can't snatch 3-4 championships in there? If you have a short runway, you could be lucky if you get one, but you give yourself a fucking long ass runway. You did redefine how a rebuild is done. And if you can do that, you'll walk away as being a top 5 GM of all time across all sports. And that's why I love Sam Presti, bro.
Yeah, dude. And I think you go back to the early Seattle days, or not early Seattle, late Seattle days, but when Sam Presti got there and how he kind of orchestrated things, right? I think he was 27 when he arrived.
Super
And
young.
like, there's a lot of lessons to be learned from that first generation of Thunder players. And we've talked about it a lot. Like, you get to where you see the promised land and you get a taste for it, but you can't fucking get over the hill. A lot of people were like extremely critical, Bill Simmons mostly, but like a lot of people, they really copied him. It was like, you know, like if you have a chance for a championship, you have to take it.
Yeah.
But like Sam Presti never really believed in that,
Yeah.
right? Like longevity is what it's really all about. And like I wish we could have kept Harden, but I look at it now and it's like we understand the assets that you need to have when you arrive. Otherwise, you are going all in by going all in on that third star. But if you have future picks stored up and you have young talent coming, so
all right, you want to hear young talent coming? Here's a breaking news for you. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Oklahoma City Thunder, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams will be joined by Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, and Keegan Murray, and joining the USA team for FIBA Cup. It doesn't mean that they're going to get a spot, but it means that they're going to work out and play with the team. And if there's an injury, it means that one of them will step up probably. How about them?
Apples, baby. So J-Dub, J-Will.
No, just J-Dub.
Oh,
just J-Dub. Yep.
J-Dub and Chet.
Jade and Chet.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, this is exciting. Hopefully we get to see J-Dub play. Hopefully Chet.
Wouldn't it be great if we, both of them make it, Chet and J-Dub, and it kind of reminds, sort of, just ever so slightly, 2010 FIBA,
Right.
bro.
I mean, we already have Team Canada and Team Australia to watch, and that's.
I know, and I was just looking at Team Australia's bracket, man. That bracket's nasty, man.
Yeah.
Like, Australia's got a tough bracket, like, really tough bracket. So, that's one to watch. I need to pull that back up before I start talking about it more. So someone's gonna be like, "Hey, who's in their bracket?" But you know, Australia's got a tough bracket, and I didn't look at Canada's yet. I looked at Americans' bracket. It's all right, but yeah, I was like, "Damn, Australia's got it rough, man. It's probably the toughest bracket."
Yeah, Mwani, it would be a lot more fun. But like, we always go back to this, the James Harden trade. Like, we don't love talking about it, but the types of decisions that like led to making that trade were all about longevity and having the longest run.
That's right.
And I think here we are, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're looking at this and we're recognizing like you said, it's 2010 maybe kind of vibes, and then
Sure.
but you include the other teams, and like that's part of the whole new experience, right? It's
Yeah,
not
man.
all USA players; it's all around
That's
the
right.
world.
And let's talk about the groups. Group H: Lebanon, France, Latvia.
Latvia,
Thank you, man.
I think.
Canada. This is bad, man. It's fallen. All right. Group E.
All right, dude.
Australia,
Let's
Japan.
just let everybody else read it, dude, and let's just wrap it, bro. No sense in blowing out your voice any more than it is. And
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
peace.